A very good morning to one and all present here. My name is Fatima Kulsawala from Admiya Green School, Chadeshwar, and from today onwards, I would be teaching you English. So, students, how are you all? I hope you all are taking good care of yourself and staying home and staying safe. So, let's start our today's class with Unit 6, Chapter number 1, Juan Bobo's Pot. So, students, I hope that you remember the story of this silly boy. So, before moving ahead with the exercise, I would just like to tell you the summary once again. Juan Bobo was a young boy who lived in Puerto Rico. His name meant he was foolish because he behaved in a silly way. One day, Juan Bobo's mom was going to make chicken stew because she invited some of her friends for the dinner. So she asked Juan to go to his grandma's house and get her the big pot. Juan was okay with this because he loved his mom's chicken stew, and so he ran outside and took off up the hill to his grandmother's house as fast as he could. The thought of his mom's chicken stew made his mouth watering because he could almost taste it. Juan reached his grandma's house in no time. He went straight into her house to get the pot. He knew exactly where she kept the stew pot, so he got the pot and went on his way carrying it on its shoulder. Juan told the pot that they could race back down the hill to his house because he noticed that the pot had 3 legs, and as Juan told the pot that he had only 2 legs, he should get a head start. That means he should start first. So Juan took on of the running down the hill. Juan finally reached his house. He was so happy to be home. Juan's mom asked him, "Where is the stew pot?" And Juan was surprised that how come the pot who has 3 legs didn't reach before he reached there. But finally, they both made it home. That night, he ate so much chicken stew that he could burst. The next morning, Juan's mom told him to take the pot back to his grandma's house, and so he did. Walking up the hill with the pot on his shoulder, he knew that the pot had worked hard that night by cooking the stew. So he decided to pick him up and take him up the hill back to his grandma's house. But he told the pot that next time you will have to walk back home on your own, my friend. So students, I hope that you understood the story. So now let's move on towards our exercises. So students, we are already done with reading 1, reading 2 and vocabulary part of this exercises. So now we will start with our next topic, that is grammar portion. So let's see page number 80 in your course book. Was and were. Let's read the sentence from the story. The first sentence is, his name was Juan. What is the first sentence? His name was Juan. And the second one is, he was sometimes quite silly. The second one is, he was sometimes quite silly. Now we use was and were to say something about ourselves, other people, things or places when we are talking about something which happened in past. When we talk about one person or thing in the past time, we use was. That means that we are going to use was when we are talking about a singular person or a singular thing. But when we talk about more than one person or thing in the past, then we use were. So students, I hope you are clear when to use was and when to use were. So students, here you can see the table for the verbs was and were, and how are we going to use it in positive sentence and negative sentence. So let's see how do we use it in the positive form. We are going to use was for pronoun I, he, she and it, and they represent the singular person. And we use were for we, you and they. We and they represent plural persons and you represent both singular and plural. So we are going to use were along with you, whether it is singular or plural. Now let's see the negative form. For negative form, we are going to use was not or wasn't for the pronoun I, he, she and it. Students, here you can see that we can write wasn't, that is the short form of was not, and we are going to use it for singular person. And for the plural person, we are going to use were not or weren't. Weren't is the short form of were not, and we are going to use it for we, you and they. We and they are again the plural persons, but you can be singular and plural. But as I told you before, that we are going to use were along with the you, which is second person, and whether it is singular or plural, we have to use were. So when we are talking about the positive sentences, we have to use was and were, and when we are using it for the negative sentence, we are going to use was not, that is wasn't, and were not, that means weren't. So now let's look at some of the examples and see how to use was and were in the sentences and the question. Students, you can look in your book on page number 80. So let's see for the first person, that means to talk about oneself or the speaker. And for that, for singular, we are going to use I was late. That is positive form. For negative singular form, we are going to use I wasn't late. And when we make a question, we are going to write was I late? Over here, you can see the formation where we have to bring the verb first, which is a helping verb, that is was. Then we are going to write subject and then the remaining portion, that is predicate. For plural form, first person, we are going to write we were late for positive sentence. For negative sentence, we are going to write we weren't late. And when we are making question, we will write were we late. So students, I hope that you are clear how to use was and were, singular and plural, for first person. Now let's move on to the second person. Second person is the one who listens, or to talk about the listener. So let's see the positive form for singular second person. We will write you were late. For negative sentence, we will write you weren't late. And for the question, we are going to write were you late. Here also you can notice that normally we use were for plural form. But as I taught you before, that we have to use you along with singular and plural, both we are going to use were. Now for the plural second person, it would be same as singular one. For positive sentence, we are going to write you were late. For negative sentence, you will write you weren't late. And for making a question, you are going to write were you late. Now let's see the third person. Third person is the person about whom the first person is talking about. It can be talking about other person, place, animal or things. So for singular third person, we are going to write he, she or it was late. That means he was late or she was late, it was late. That would be the positive sentence in singular form. Now the second one is negative sentence for third person singular. And we can write it he, she or it wasn't late. That means he wasn't late or she wasn't late or it wasn't late. And remember, wasn't is the short form of was not. And for making question, we are again going to bring the verb was before or the beginning of the sentence, and then we have to write the subject, that is he, she or it, and then the rest of the part, that is predicate. So we can write was he late, was she late, or was it late. For the plural form we use they. Third person plural we use they. So let's see the positive sentence for it. That would be they were late. For negative sentence we are going to write they weren't late. And for the question we are going to write were they late. So students, I hope that you are clear with the formation of positive, negative and questions regarding the verb was and were, and how you are going to use it for first person, second person and third person singular and plural. So now let's see the exercise related to this. Here you can read the question in your textbook. It says, Hero is a smart dog. Read what he says about his present and his past and cross out the wrong verb form in the bracket. So students, here you are given two verbs, and out of those two you have to cut the wrong one and put the tick mark on the right one. So here we have two columns, that is hero's past and hero's present. So let's first read the hero's present. I am a big dog now. And hero's past, the first sentence says, 2 years back I were or was a puppy. Now here you can see I is singular. So we are going to use was along with I. So you can strike out were and put the tick mark or underline the word was. The second sentence, first we will read the present and then past. Now I am strong and brave. So here in the hero's past it is written I was or were weak and scared. So again I is a singular form and singular person, and so we are going to use was along with it. The third one, there are 2 puppies with me in this new house. And for the hero's past, there were or was other puppies in the pet shop. So here other puppies is plural, and so we are going to use were along with it. So you can strike out was and underline the verb were, which is the right one. Next sentence. The children here are fond of playing games with me. And for the hero's past, it says the puppies was or were very fond of playing games. Again, the word puppies shows the plural form. And so, for the plural form, we are going to use were and not was. The last one. This is a fun place too. And for the hero's past, it were or was a fun place. So here they are talking about a place which is a singular thing, and so we are going to use the verb was along with it. So students, I request you to complete this exercise in your textbook. Now let's start the exercise 2 on page number 81. Read the story below. Fill in the blanks with was, wasn't, were or weren't. So we are going to use was and were for positive sentences and wasn't and weren't for negative sentence. Over here there is a conversation between 2 friends, Josh and Hina. So let's read out and fill in the blanks. Josh, something interesting happened last week. I was in my room. I was quite late at night, but I was up reading a storybook. So students, here you can notice that we have used was along with the pronoun I because I is singular. And so we are going to use the verb was along with it. Now, Hina says, were you alone at home? Over here, she is asking a question and she is asking the second person, that is you. And so, along with you, we always use were. Although the you over here represents a singular person, we are going to use were. In reply, Josh said, yes, I was alone. My parents were at the party. All of a sudden, I heard a strange sound. Tap, tap, scratch, scratch. So, here we have used was along with the pronoun I, which is singular. And for my parents, that is plural form. And so, we are going to use were along with it. Hina asked, were you scared? Again, along with the you, we are going to use the word were. Josh, no, I wasn't scared. I opened my door and suddenly the sound stopped. Then, after a few seconds, it began again. This time it was louder. I walked towards the backyard. The lights were off. Then I was scared. Here you can notice that in the first sentence we have used wasn't. That means negative form of the word was because it's a negative sentence. And in the second blank also we have used was because we are talking about the time, which is again singular. Then in the third blank we used were. The lights were off because the lights are plural. And then I was scared. So here with I we are going to write was. Hina replied. She asked, were there thieves in your backyard? She questioned that were there thieves in your backyard? So again we are going to use were along with the plural form, that is thieves. Now Josh replied, no, there weren't any thieves. I switched on the light and saw that a poor little kitten was stuck inside a dustbin and was trying to open the lid. That's where the sound was coming from. I set it free and went back inside. So Josh replied that they weren't any thieves. That means we have used the negative form of the verb were, that is were not, because we are going to use it for the nouns thieves, which is plural. And then in the second blank we have used was for the singular noun, that is kitten. I hope you are clear with this exercise. Now let's move on towards the next topic in this chapter, that is punctuation. So students, do you have any idea what are punctuations? Well, punctuations are the marks which is used to make the words in the sentence clear. It helps in making the meaning of the written words clear. Over here we are going to study about such punctuation marks, and in that we are going to study question mark, exclamation mark and full stop. So let's see first the full stop. Where do you use it? Any ideas? Well, we use it at the end of the sentence, which is not a question or an exclamation. That means when we are writing a simple sentence or a statement, at the end of that statement or sentence, we are going to use full stop. The second one is question mark. We use it when we are asking or when we are writing a question. So at the end of the question, we are going to put question mark. For example, why are you late? So after late, you are going to write question mark. In the same way for exclamation. Exclamation mark is used at the end of exclamation or an interjection. Exclamation mark represents a sudden feeling. For example, what a good idea. Over here, we are going to put the exclamation mark. This is the exclamation mark, students. This one. So, exclamation mark, we are going to use it after an interjection or an exclamatory sentence. Exclamatory sentence is what a good idea. Over here, after the sentence, we are going to put the exclamation mark. And if we are using it after interjection, we can write, oh, I forgot to do my homework. So here, after oh, we are going to use exclamation mark. And O is interjection. So students, I hope that now you understand how do we use these three punctuation marks, that is question mark, exclamation mark and full stop. Now please look in your textbook on page number 81. Look at these sentences. What is your name? Now can you tell me which punctuation mark is this? Well, this is question mark. His name is Juan Bobo. Here they have placed a full stop at the end of the sentence. And third one, what an interesting name. So this is a question, but it's a kind of feeling or sudden excitement. And so we are going to use exclamatory mark. The first sentence over here is a question. So questions end with the question mark. You can see the symbol given over here. The second sentence is a statement, and statements end with full stop. The point which is shown over here indicates full stop. And in the third sentence is an exclamatory sentence. So exclamatory sentence end with an exclamation mark, that is given over here. The symbol is already given over here. They express strong feelings of surprise, anger and happiness. As I told you before that we use question marks when we write a question or when we write an interrogative sentence. Or when we ask a question, we have to use question mark. For sentences and simple statements, we use full stop at the end of the statement. And exclamatory marks are used for exclamatory sentences and also along with the interjection. So here they have given an exercise. So let's do this exercise. Read the sentences below. Add a full stop, a question mark or an exclamation mark at the end of each sentence. So students, let's read out the first sentence. Where are you going tomorrow? This indicates an interrogative sentence or a question. And so we are going to add a question mark at the end of this sentence, which I have already done for you. I am going to buy a pet dog. This is a simple statement, and so we are going to put a full stop at the end of the sentence. Let's see the third one. How lucky you are. Over here, this is an exclamatory sentence, and so we are going to add an exclamation mark. Fourth one. Our teacher is taking us out on a trip. Here you can see that it is a simple statement, and so we are going to put a full stop. Fifth one. What would you like to eat for dinner? So naturally you can make it out that this is a question, and so we are going to add a question mark. So students, I hope that you are clear with the punctuations, and please do complete it in your textbook. Now the next topic over here is writing skill, and you would be learning how to write thank you notes. Thank you notes are the letter which is used when someone wishes to express their appreciation for another. When somebody does something for you and you want to be grateful and you want to thank them, then you can write a thank you note. Normally, thank you notes are handwritten and it is written to a friend, acquaintance, or relative. It can also be known as letters of gratitude. So here you can see the format. They have written the date first, then the person whom you want to thank, and then you can write the words of thank you, and then you would be writing your name along with the regards. So let's read out the first thank you note given over here. 12th January 2020. Dear grandmother, thank you for the gift. It was nice. Yours lovingly, Miko. So here you can see how to write a thank you note. Now let's see one more thank you note which is given in your textbook. And it's on page number 82 itself. 12th January. Dear Grandma, you are wonderful. How did you know I wanted a new color set? I have never seen such a big box of colors. It has 36 colors. Thank you so much. I am making big animal posters. You must come to see them. Love, Koil. So here you can see that this thank you note is a little bit longer because she has described what she is doing with it, and she expresses her happiness along with thanking the grandma. So students, I hope you understand how to write the thank you note. So here there is one more passage given over here which you would be reading, and then you have to write a thank you note using the words given in the box like great, lovely, excellent, superb, terrific, enjoyable, fun, thankful, grateful, kind, thoughtful, and looking forward. So students, I request you to write down the thank you note after going through the paragraph given over in this slide, and also it is on page number 82 in your course book. So students, will check this homework in the next video. Till then, take care and have fun. Thank you.